So this policy issue should be mainstreamed at all possible levels in an efficient way. Particularly, universities are the most important target that are fully engaged in teaching and dissemination of knowledge and technology. So universities and research institutes are the top priorities in our approach. And further, using existing networks and the social group who have an existing audience to deploy this important policy information will be the mechanisms designed. So what have been done so far? At the initial stage, the module content was developed iteratively within the group and then sent out to high-profile scientists in the country, including Professor Shallama and other lots of experts and top scientists in soil and agronomy field of study. And then that content of the module was reviewed by the professionals, and we collected very important feedbacks from them. And then the content was revised. And based on that content, the module was developed. And then this module was again sent out to about 19 people in the universities, research institutes, and other sectors, so that we get feedback on the module. So that was achieved. The people provided very positive feedback on that, and then they suggested some areas of improvement that has been taken into account, and then the module was revised accordingly. And then the next thing is to conduct, train the trainers at regional and the federal levels. We targeted 4 of the major regional states of the country: Tigray, Amhara, Oromia, and the South Nation nationality and people regional states. And again, I mean, there are regional offices and also federal offices. So at the federal levels, we target agricultural research institutes and some other sectors as well, which I'll be elaborating in a moment. Now, the training approach, obviously, at this time is very difficult to hold large meeting with people physically. So we are planning to hold self-paced and virtually supported training approach at these 4 regional states and at Addis Ababa centers. So this is just to show you which of the institutions have been prioritized in this training. The Ministry of Agriculture is obviously the top priority. The expertise we will be engaging in this trainer stations will be the soil and agronomy. From each of these sectors, we'll be picking up 2 participants, which will be specified in discussion with these stakeholders. And the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research, IR, is again a very important stakeholder. The federal level ATA, office or bureaus. And the Ethiopian Construction Design and Supervision Works Corporation. We picked up this organization because they are involved in lots of soil data generation. They have huge data sets at their hand, and also definitely because of their mandates, they will be analyzing lots of soil data in their major activities. So we decided to incorporate, engage this organization in the training. So Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Energy is also a very important key stakeholder, which mainly deals with lots of soil data. They have it and they use soil data as well. So Ethiopian Geospatial Information Agency is definitely a very important institution. We will be inviting a GIS expert from there or any directorate that is dealing with the data handling and management at the national level. So Sakawa Global 2000 Ethiopia is also it's a non-governmental organization involved in lots of agricultural research, development activities. So Water and Land Resource Center of Addis Ababa University has been heavily involved in agricultural activities. So these are organizations that will be engaged in the training at the federal level. Again, universities, we focused on 4 main universities in the country. These are among the senior universities in Ethiopia: Addis Ababa University, Jimma University, Hawassa University, and the Haramaya University will be in the target. And then experts from regional institutions. The regional organizations will be targeting in the training are Tigray Agricultural Research Institute and Amhara Agricultural Research Institute, Amhara Design and Supervision Works Enterprise, and Oromia Waterworks Design and Supervision Enterprise, Oromia Agricultural Research Institute, and the Southern Agricultural Research Institute will be our major targets at regional states. So a total of summing up all those experts from different institutions, we will be anticipating to have about 55 trainees to receive this training. Out of those, 31 will be 31 participants will be from Addis, and 6 in Hawassa and 4 in Mekelle. 6 will be in Bahir Dar, and at University level 4 in Jimma University and 4 in Haramaya University. So what else do we need? Yes, as you can see, we have 10 regional states, or maybe 11, because we have 1 new regional state added. But we targeted only 4. So the natural question will be, what about the rest of the regions? Yeah, we expect that with support of the Ministry of Agriculture, now the rest of the regions will be reached out in collaboration with CAO members, and then those who receive the trainers of trainer will disseminate into the wider coverage. Again, not only at regional and federal level, but this needs to be disseminated to zonal and Warada levels as well. So that will be cascaded through those trainers. Those who receive the TOT will further take it down to the lower level of the governmental structures. Again, further discussion with other key stakeholders, because as I've said, there are lots of long list of stakeholders in soil and agronomy. So there should be a continual and iterative discussion with the rest of the key stakeholders, where the CAO members will be playing a great role, and the Ministry of Agriculture and the research institutes as well. Yeah, guidelines and the frameworks, legal frameworks are extremely important in making sure that the policy is implemented, because in this country we have so many policies, but practically on the ground, some of the things are not efficiently being implemented. that would mean that there is some gap in perhaps in specific guidelines or legal frameworks that enforce the policy implementation. So this should be again in a thorough discussion, in a continual discussion with the top official government officials and other relevant offices. So I believe that the CAO members will continue again discussing on the legal frameworks and the guidelines to make sure that the policy is effectively implemented. That is what I have. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Gudina. Doing great work. So there's questions from the floor for you. I'll start with you, Josh, on the engagement piece. Where is this material going to be hosted? Where can the members access it?
So that question is will be the answer to that question will be determined by the coalition. So I'm not sure, but maybe Dr. Lusiget or Dr. Teklu or someone has an idea of where they want that to go. So if you want to speak up now, feel free to.
What's your suggestion, Dr. Lusiget, for where this type of material would reside?
I think for around next week we'll have the website, and as ready for the coalition, then we can put it there. In the meantime, we can distribute to the colleagues by email and so on. But for the future, we will have a repository of depositing those things. I hope it will be ready soon. There is some new people coming, and there is some work going on in AR, so I hope it will be ready very soon. So we'll put them there. For now, we can distribute by email, and the ministry will have the copies as well, and the AR, CIAT, GIZ, and so on. So I think maximum 1 or 2 weeks, we'll have a site to locate, to put deposit.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Then there are questions around, I think there's a bit of discussion in the chat around selection, Gudina, of how you selected the institutions you're targeting. There's a suggestion here to consider young universities, for example, and other big universities like Mekele, which are not on the list. What was the process for, maybe you explain, not sure if it came out clear, your process for selecting the institutions?
Okay. So, yeah, actually the discussion was continually being made among the CAO members and the senior professionals in the country. Definitely, it would have been excellent if we could have engaged all the universities in the country, but practically it would be very difficult to manage it, given the restrictions of COVID and so many things. Again, we will be, using the CAO members in the 4 regions, actually, in real sense, meaning that some of the CAO members might be from Mekelle University as well. We don't travel to Mekelle. Obviously, the CAO members will be helping the trainees from there. So in which case, the further universities and elsewhere will be engaged in one or another way. Otherwise, definitely it would be better to engage more universities than the 4 we picked up. This is just to make it manageable at this stage. So this training will be a continual process. This is just the beginning in this very difficult situation. So I acknowledge that more universities would have been, engaged for better results. Yeah.
Teklu, I was going to read your question. I see you're unmuted. Did you want to talk? Did you want to ask it yourself? No, isn't it?
No, I wanted to react to the previous question, where to put the materials, and
Okay.
Lutza could address that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. There's a question here about the timeline of the training. What does the timeline look like? And the second question on the training is, are you planning to incorporate this into any university curricula itself?
Can I jump in on the timeline? So, hi everyone. I thought you'd be grateful not to hear from me talking today, but I'm still jumping in anyway. So the project that we're running at the moment, the CABI project that this work has been done under, ends in January 2021. So what we're doing at the moment is we're looking at how we make this rollout sustainable, either by working with others in Ethiopia or via a new bid for funding from the Gates Foundation to sort of support this rollout. So given COVID and given that timeline, it's literally a live discussion at the moment that we're having around when we kick it off and how we kick it off and make it all happen. So can't tell you exactly at the moment, but we're working on it and we will update you as soon as we know.
Well, then
okay. Let me respond to the question regarding whether the training module will be incorporated in the curriculum of the university. Well, I don't have a clear answer to it, but what I could say is at the initial phase of the discussion, we have been discussing about whether this is possible to be part of a given course or a chapter in a course or in any mechanism, make it a part of the curriculum of some of the universities, not all universities, obviously, some of the agricultural universities, senior agricultural universities, such as Haramaya University. We don't have any definite decision on this one, but what I would know is after the training, the module training delivered, we expect that there will be continual discussion on this. Definitely this will be one of the big topic of discussion during the training itself. So incorporating this into the university's curriculum is not a simple process. So we have to make a good discussion with the university management and departments and so on. So it would be great progress if we can incorporate at least as a chapter in somewhere in the agricultural disciplines. So that is what I could say. Maybe Professor Shalama, if he's around, if he can comment, because he was also engaged in the content of in reviewing the content of the module. So, yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? Any questions? Comments?
Me, please, I'm Maklit.
Yes, yes,
Do you
please
hear me?
introduce yourself, where you're coming from. Then
I am Maklit. I am based in Nairobi. I work for IIT CGIR. So two things that I want to contribute here is one, the material that will be used for a training, if it is prepared in different formats, including like flyers or kind of I don't know, paper-based kind of formats that will be left behind as a stock with the institutes that are giving the training. Probably it will keep it kind of moving in terms of reach and distribution. Probably it is planned. I don't know. I'm sorry, I missed a part of the discussion. So if it was already discussed, just I rest my case then. The other point I want to raise is that this will be the first attempt, because training is a process that will just keep on improving and reaching out more. Therefore, I'm wondering if there is a mechanism to capture a feedback of the trainees. Therefore, the future trainees will be adjusted to the need. I don't know, some sort of mechanism. If it is living in code, if there is a website, and if it is living there, if we have a living document there, and trainees could just drop in their comments what is lacking, what needs to be added, what is out of reach, what will be blocking issues for them to implement practically the training. This kind of things, if we capture it, I think it will help, because the learning will be there will be quite some learning, even from the mainly active call team that are doing the job day to day. There will be some gaps that can be filled by the trainees. That is what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, you want to take it?
Yeah, just so the training itself has been developed in such a way that it can be accessed online and offline. So it's a PDF document that you effectively work through and can go off and do an exercise and then carry on working through it. Linked to that particular module is a link to a Google form, which can capture any feedback from undertaking the module. Obviously, so that's the kind of like, there will be something left behind. It will be the module itself. People will have access to. We can capture information and feedback via the form. There is a more fundamental question in what you're asking around who owns this when the CABI ODI project closes, and where does it fit? We're actively in conversation at the moment with the Ministry of Agriculture and others around, and the coalition, other members of the coalition, about where we hand this material over to make sure that it's managed for the long term. The benefit of us building it in such a way that it's a document that gets turned into a PDF, if it needs to be altered as time goes forward, as the policy changes, the process changes, how things are implemented, it's relatively easy to do. So we just need to make sure that we sort out that sustainability bit of handover. Hopefully that answers the thrust of your question.
Great, thank you, Mike. Okay, any other questions from the floor before we close the session? I don't see any hands. I thought I heard a mic come on, but probably not. Great. Well, thank you very much, Josh, Mike, Dr. Godina. Thank you, doing really good work. And we look forward to seeing the uptake of these materials and the use of them. Yeah, and I think that's one thing we need to make sure we have some way of monitoring the usage of the resources for M&E and improvement.